And then they had a gate, you know, blocking, you know, to go into the backyard off of like the driveway, going to, you know, basically running from like the shed to the garage. You know, I had a little fence thing with a gate to go into the backyard between the house and the garage. And then had the access door to go from the garage to the backyard as well. And so, you know, I had to be in this in the morning this day. You know, and I messaged him. I said, "Hey, you know, his dog's got out." And I said, "Hey, your dog's got out." Or I said, "I think your dog's got out." So then he looked at it, and he must have called Shonda, then his now ex-wife. So he must have called her and said, "Hey, the dog's got out." She said, "Well, how'd you know the dog's got out?" And said, you know, and then he must, you know, if he did call her, I don't know if he actually did or not, or if Shonda actually knew that they were out and got out and gone. So then I come down, I'm walking with the dogs. I said, "Hey, you know," as they go down to a buddy of mine's mom and dad's house. They're down there, you know, which is on the other side of the lesbian's house. It's 2 doors down from me. I said, "Come on, let's go home." You know, and I knew the dogs. And I'm like, "Come on, let's go home." You know, so they go. You know, so I was like, "Come on, stay with me." You know, so I was able to have one walk with me to get the other one. So I could get the other one. I was like, "Come on, get over here." You know, I was being a little more on the rougher side, but I wasn't being mean. I was like, "Come on, let's go home." You know, I was being, like, what I mean by a little bit on the rougher side, I was just saying, "Hey, come on, let's go home." I was being a little bit more assertive so that they'd listen. Stop in front of Lopez's house here. I'm not going to step on his yard. He's got a nice yard. You know, so I was just asserting 37 to get fucking warm. You know, so I was just asserting dominance to make them listen. Hopping over. Can't because I got traffic coming from both directions. So that I was able to get them to come back with me. So then they walked and I'm coming down this sidewalk where we are right now. Around the corner. Come down, then I can hear Shonda yelling for, you know, I couldn't make out the one was Letty, so I made that one out, kind of made that one out, and I was like, "What's the one's name again?" She's like, "Letty." I said, "Okay." I heard her yelling. I had the dogs. I said, "These are your dogs?" And then I walked down around, you know, down to the corner of Farland and Dan's with the dogs, and she's like, "Yeah, those are mine." "Where were they?" I said, "I had them up by my house." You're like, "Where are you?" I said, "Up on Rebel." You know, move your house up 1 block. Exactly 1 block. Don't turn it, don't nothing. I'm right where your house is, a block up. She's like, "Oh, okay, I know you are." I said, I know Brandon really well. I went to school with Chloe, so I know her pretty well too. She's like, really? I'm like, yeah. I mean, I'm like, you know, thankfully I knew you guys, so I just grabbed, you know, I was able to help with the dogs. So she's like, well, thank you. And they ended up getting out again, making it back up to my house, and eventually got the dogs, and they stayed inside. All right. So, stop here. See you guys in a bit.